Dominica is benefiting from a reduction in telecommunications services. Information Minister Ambrose George says rates have dropped and will continue to decrease in 2010.
To continue making telecommunications affordable is the ultimate goal of this government. And in that regard, one must emphasize the process that started a year ago. That is, the reduction in wholesale interconnection rates. The reduction is staggered over a 3-year period from 2009 to 2011. Last year, there was a 40% reduction in wholesale interconnection rates to 0.369 cents. This year, in 2010, it will be 0.3135 cents, and by the next year, 2011, it will have dropped by 60% of the 2009 rates to 0.2580 cents. These rates are now into their second year of implementation. These rates will again lead to some reduction in retail prices. But rate reduction does not stop there, Madam Speaker. Under the new price cap plan, which has been developed by ECTEL for regulating the fixed services of cable and wireless, now Lime, in the ECTEL member states, there are reductions. There is a complete removal of all access deficit charges, or ADCs, payable to Lime, which took effect from April 1st, 2010.
Telecommunications Minister Ambrose George. Dominica will host the 13th meeting of the Council for Foreign and Community Relations from May 5 to 6. Government Press Secretary Sean Douglas says the meeting will be chaired by Minister for Employment, Trade, Industry and Diaspora Affairs Colin McIntyre.
In terms of the agenda over the 2 days, the discussions will include kairiFM's response to the Haitian catastrophe, the changing geopolitical dynamics in the hemisphere, post-Copenhagen, the climate change conference that took place in December last year, and policy responses, as well as challenges. There will also be discussion on relations with third countries and groups of countries. There will also be issues to do with multilateral and hemispheric relations, to include the United Nations, the OAS, the Association of Caribbean States, and the Human Rights Council. There will also be discussion on issues relating to community relations, to include discussion on the role of civil society in the Caribbean Community Project, and the proposed meeting of the Assembly of Caribbean Community Parliamentarians, ACCP, set for Port of Spain, Trinidad in July of this year. There will also be discussion on the operations and function of the COFCO. We expect about 40 delegates comprising ministers of government from each CARICOM member states and the CARICOM Secretariat for the 2-day meeting. The COFCO meeting is also expected to attract guests from a number of countries and institutions, including Australia, Portugal, and the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC. Dominica's hosting of the 13th meeting of the COFCO comes, as you know, only weeks after we hosted the CARICOM Heads of Government Conference just about a month and a half ago. This is a very important, I think this is the first time that we are hosting a meeting of foreign ministers of the Caribbean community, and we are looking forward very much to a very successful meeting in Dominica.
Government Press Secretary Sean Douglas. A press conference to mark the start of the 2-day meeting will be carried live by kairiFM from 8:15 this morning. Parliamentary Representative for the Salisbury constituency Hector John is calling on Dominicans to join the United Workers' Party in the fight for democracy. Mr. John made the call at a press conference on a Thursday after the United Workers' Party continued its boycott of Parliament for a third consecutive sitting.
We're sending a message not only to the United Workers' Party, but to the entire country, that the United Workers' Party is doing its share to ensure that democracy is restored in our country. And we're asking every Dominican to join us, civic-minded Dominicans of all walks of life, to ensure that we join together to stop this madness, the erosion of our democracy. And if we allow Roosevelt's carrot and this government to do whatever they want in our country, we'll lose it. I know that some of you have read Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Machiavelli as well, and how people fight for the country, how they work hard to ensure that they have democracy in the country. And we are taking that fight today. We're starting today. You know, you'll have us there are so many things that this government can deal with. But they went to the House, as Mr. James said on several occasions. You have, on average, 3 sittings of the House per year. Look, Curtis Matthew, good friend, has about 3 sittings in 3 months, Mr. Scary. And what does that say? Only one thing is about, is to ensure that they can try to get the United Workers' Party off and get all the seats and have one party state. We cannot allow that to happen as a country. We have the visa issue with the UK, that the St. Lucia government make it public to the people of St. Lucia what is the problem and how they're going to address it. The Prime Minister of Dominica has yet to do that. We have the agricultural situation right now, the drought, what package you're going to give the farmers, how you're going to assist them to get back on their feet. The Prime Minister is not addressing that. You have the concerns of the people of Layu, where he lied openly to the people of Layu on the asphalt plant, and he's not doing anything about it, making any comments about it. We heard Mr. Jerry Brisbane this morning, and some of the comments he made read the tendering process, and we continue to play lip service and give, as the fisherman would say, give the Prime Minister filage and let him go away about his business. We cannot allow that to continue as a country, and that is why we are very supportive of the move by Mr. Prevost to go to the House and take his oath, and to continue and to tighten the process of boycott, because we want to send a message not only to Dominicans but the region and the world.
Parliamentary Representative for the Salisbury constituency, Hector John. The 4th annual Mayfest has been hailed a success. The 2010 Mayfest activities ran for a total of 4 days and nights, each being a very demanding but successful reflection of what the country's largest village festival was all about.
Saturday, May 1st, 2010, the Marigot Queen Show Committee started off the event by putting a wonderful Mayfest Queen Show together. Miss Wendy Davis, at the end of the night, was crowned the Miss Mayfest 2010 among a field of 5 other lovely young ladies coming from the neighboring communities. In everything, one has to give thanks to God the Creator. The community of Marigot gathered at the Marigot Roman Catholic Church at an ecumenical service of thanksgiving, where a message packed with the legacy of hope for a difference, also the foresight of an impending change and the rejuvenation of the patriarchal system of society was delivered. The 2010 International Artists Night then began with a crowd-pleasing performance from the X Plus Band. The night took shape upon the arrival of reggae phenomenon Banky Banks, after which the moment for Crossfire had arrived. Crossfire, who was received earlier that day at the country's main airport, 10 minutes away from the venue, was ushered into the venue in formality, where their performance rocked many, if not all, patrons. The Mayfest activities continued from the venue with the Monday morning Juve. Patrons were jam-locked to the songs of the national Lapo Cabits on the island of Dominica, and not only were they, but the members of the Crossfire Band were of course extremely pleased with the songs of the Goatskin Lapo Cabit. Mayfest 2010 came to a successful ending on Monday night when the WCK Band out of Roseau again played for the patrons of the Marigot area, coupled with a number of other DJs and artists who were down to perform at the Mayday Beach Bash event, which of course could not be held at the initial venue because of a landslide which blocked off the entrance to the area. For Tribal Services and the Marigot Development Corporation, I am Alvin Alexander for Kairi News.
Roseau North MP and Health Minister Julius Timothy has told the Dominican players that today's probability of a Dominican playing in the NBA is one which is minimal. Timothy told the Bolorama to launch the 2010 season, though they should continue the drive for such sports on the island. Greater opportunities exist in cricketing.
And successive governments have done their part by getting basketball courts built all over the islands. All over the island. I know the Dominica Cricket Association has been complaining about basketball as a sport. Because, I mean, when you see big, tall 6-footers, you'd expect them to come and really bowl fast. Instead, they're running on the court playing basketball because they prefer basketball. They see a lot of basketball on TV. But you know, when you really look at it, these days in cricket, one makes a lot of money in cricket, a good pace bowler. And when you look at probability, whereas of course we want you to play basketball, when you look at probability, you stand a much better chance for playing for the West Indies than playing NBA.